Imagine the life insurance industry. If it was a country, it is filled with a bunch of people that have stopped having sex.
The trillion-dollar insurance industry is on the move, and InsuranceNewsNet brings you face-to-face with the men and women who are reinventing the way our business gets done. This is Paul Feldman, and these are the Innovators. Hi, this is Paul Feldman, president and founder of InsuranceNewsNet, and I'm here today with Patrick Bet-David, a true industry disruptor. Patrick, I'm really pleased to be here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
You are a man on a mission to redefine what people think about the life insurance industry.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. You sell a life insurance policy, you knock on a door, and when you first go in, they just think of you as, they're here to sell us life insurance. 20 years later, a wife is crying, thinking about, what if that day Agent John never showed up? What happens to me? What if I don't get this $500,000 death benefit? What if I don't get this $250,000 death benefit? What would happen to my kids? That kid that went to college was because daddy had an insurance policy. That other kid that went to college was because mommy had a life insurance policy. Because there's only one product you sell that brings tears to people's eyes, and that's life insurance. We bring tears because someone says, thank you for convincing me that I needed life insurance. So for us, we're trying to kind of shift the way of thinking from being so logical to getting back to the emotional sense, because that's what we want to hear the stories.
A lot of people don't think that life insurance is an honorable profession. They think back to the old days where somebody's knocking on doors.
The life insurance industry needs to say, here's who we are moving forward. And it'll take 5, 10 years. 10 years later, when today's 14-year-old kids graduate from college, they're going to say, when I think about life insurance, I think about a profession that I can go into, make a lot of money, make a difference in people's lives. If we learned how to reshape the story we're presenting to the American people about the life insurance agent.
Which goes right into your PHP agency, people helping people. And forget about that. I mean, we have forgotten that how much we do to help our clients and transform lives. What did you learn from Patrick that really made that big difference?
One big difference is how much of your income do you want to generate from your own efforts, right? And the natural answer is, well, 100%. Really? So in other words, you have to be at the office all the time, right? What happens if you get sick? What happens if you want to go on a vacation? Your income stops. And even when you are on vacation, I remember qualifying for these top producer trips, and they take me out to Hawaii, Maui, Bahamas, all these different things. I could never settle at those top producer trips because I was wired as a producer, because I was so worried about what's going on in my office. Whereas where Patrick has taken us into an agency building system, thinking less like a self-employed person and thinking more like an entrepreneur, thinking more like a business person. My wife is great in systems and processes. I'm great in agent recruitment and personnel development. Starting to think about scalability. Once we installed scalability into our conversations, our practice grew from a practice into a business, and therefore we're now traveling all over the world and we're not worried about income. Why? Because we have leadership and people in our business that's running a business.
One of the things that you really try to drive home is agency recruiting, is bringing somebody else into this business. I mean, we got more people leaving the business than we've ever had in history, and we're not replacing it with enough people. You have a mission to change that and transform that. And part of this is starting one agent at a time, isn't it?
I'm going to give you a different twist to this, and I don't know whether you're going to use this or not, but it'll be completely up to you. One of the best things the man upstairs created is sex. Here's why. People are never going to stop having sex. And what that does is we keep making babies. It's been estimated that 113 billion people have been born, and most of them have died. 7 billion are left. So we keep having an economy because we keep making babies. Imagine the life insurance industry. If it was a country, it is filled with a bunch of people that have stopped having sex. Do you understand the point I'm trying to make?
Yeah, that's
How the hell are you not having
point.
sex? It's the only industry that's not having sex. It's as if somebody sent a case of condoms to these insurance executives and said, stop recruiting people. How does that make any sense to me? It doesn't make any sense to me, right? And so
not at all.
I'm sitting there thinking to myself, hey, can you guys cuddle again? Can you go back in there and make some new babies? Can you go make some new agents? Can you roll up your sleeves and just quit worrying about the next premium financing deal or the next $20 million policy you're gonna sell? or the next guy you're gonna meet at the country club, and take this 24-year-old kid and go show him 20 different sales, $500,000 policies, $250,000 term, $1 million term, and not be, I'm too good for a $250,000 term policy. Show him, sell it again, you know?
We really have this on our heart that we need more people to have this information. And we thought, how many more millions of people can we impact if we start teaching our knowledge to others? And it just translated exactly what Patrick did with us, where he believed in us and he trained us, coached us, got us through the license process, and then he was patient for us to develop into who we became.
Not only are we seeing a decline in the number of agents, we're seeing a decline in the number of policies being sold.
Yes.
And so 41% of American adults don't have an insurance policy. It's 95 million. The prior generation that didn't set up this generation by recruiting and building leaders so it keeps continuously replenishing himself and replacing itself. The formula I like, number one, go make millions. Take care of your retirement, take care of your kids' college, then get back into public service. Public service today for the life insurance industry would be some 55-year-old retired agents to go back on a 2-year term to recruit and train 100 new agents the next 2 years. That is a form of public service to the life insurance industry for what the life insurance industry did to them in their lives.
Exactly. So one of the things that people forget is that they were brought into this business by somebody else, that they were mentored. And then you get to a level where you've hit that mastery, and then you start becoming the trainer, and you start giving back. And I think that's so important for people today, and I don't think enough people are doing it.
It's so true. Look, I mean, listen, life has many laws. You got law of gravity. You got law of reciprocity. You got law of familiarity. These are laws. You're not going to change it. Kids are always, for a certain period, ungrateful for their parents. And they only see the flaws in their parents. Then somehow they go and say, if it wasn't for my mom and dad, it wouldn't be this. I had issues with my dad. I had issues with my mom. They got a divorce. You know, the truth is, if it wasn't for them, I'm not in America. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't learn the hard work. If it wasn't for them, there's a lot of different character and things I would have picked up from them. Perfect. I come to America. I make millions. If I don't do something to pass it to the next generation and I just say, look at me, I am successful, I'm also screwing up. So I'm supposed to look at my parents and see what they did wrong, adjust. What they did right, do it. And then I have my kids say, here's what daddy did wrong, adjust. Here's what daddy did right. Do this, and then you have your own strengths. Make your own life happen. That same analogy goes for the industry. We are supposed to be grateful for the generation that came prior to us. Thank you. But we are supposed to build leaders for the next generation, so that's also prepared.
A lot of people, honestly, didn't believe that we could do something like this. You know, what am I gonna do? You know, this guy with a huge accent coming, an immigrant, how is he gonna be able to get involved in the industry? But Patrick always says there are 3 levels of coaching. In the beginning is the friendship. You know, Patrick became a friend to us. He became a family to us. So we trust him and I trust him, and he trusts us the same way. And then the second level is the mentorship. When Patrick started teaching us stuff about finances, started teaching us about how to run our own company, how to run our own office, and he mentored us directly. But the highest level is now to have a coach who can tell us, you know, this is the way to do it, this is the wrong way to do it, or this is the mistakes that he has done, so we can correct or we can improve it.
We got to retrain what people are thinking about this industry and even their own professional careers, because you become successful in this industry, you're making 6 figures, 7 figures, and you're doing all the work. You're the one out there who's writing all the paper, and when you could have somebody else doing that for you and sharing that message to more people. Because if you're in this industry, you have to have some passion, you have to have some connection to it. You have responsibility to share that message to as many people as you can. And then one person can only see so many people.
So true. Let me give you a whole different perspective. I think it was 1990s when George Bush Sr. is president, and it comes to the second term, and they're debating, he and Clinton. And it was one debate that was taking place where a lady asked a question. This is the national debt. Here's what we're going through. How do you feel about it? Does it affect your family? What do you want to do about it? Now keep in mind, George Bush Sr.'s resume It's the best resume to be president at that time. Former director, CIA, military, all this other stuff. Probably the last president that served in the military, if you really think about that. But he gives an answer like, what do you think? I'm not affected by the debt. You don't think I'm this, you don't think I'm that. Boom. Bill comes in. And he says, can you tell me a little bit more about your family? And she says, I understand your pain. And I understand how it's affected on your family. In Arkansas, we go through . See, we need to be more Clinton-esque of that time and less Bush Senior. The same thing happened with Hillary Clinton against Trump. This is not a Democratic or Republican message. Just watch what's working and what's not. If you're away from the people for too far, you're gonna get your ass handed to you. The person to stay the most connected to is the people. You're always gonna have a vote. The insurance industry is going more and more away from this audience. And here's the minorities. 40 million Hispanics. You know, they're no longer minorities, they're majorities. Here's people from all over the world that are coming to America. And you don't want to talk to middle America? You don't want to talk to the people that are sitting there that are building this country up? You don't want to help them out? You have a problem there. I think we need to go back and say, what did it feel like when I was there? Think, feel, speak that moment into the people, develop the leaders, then we can connect to the audience so we get the votes, so you don't become a one-term president. You become a two-term president because you know how to connect with the people out there that truly need our help.
This whole environment and mentorship with Patrick, it took my vision of what a mother and a woman and a minority can be. And I didn't realize it, but you're setting a tone and an example for this industry to bring more women and mothers and minorities into the business.
The middle market is something that's really gotten overlooked in the industry. Everyone's going for the top and nobody's going after the bottom. Why is that? And can the middle market be profitable?
So think about it. What is Walmart based off of? Middle market. Amazon, middle America. Facebook, middle America. I can't go on with so many companies that are built on a middle America. And it's a massive market. They just want people to care about them. And if they do, you can capture that market. The industry is perfectly set up for somebody to come and be synergist. And what synergists do, they bring everybody together. And people start saying, man, I'm excited. Man, I want to be part of this again. I remember when I was a new agent. I remember, and we go back. It is by far the greatest time ever in the insurance industry to be a synergist. Greatest time. And I foresee the next 5, 10 years filled with more synergists than we've ever had in the history of the industry.
Well, you certainly are a synergist. Just watching what you've built here. I've spoken to a lot of producers who want to recruit new agents but don't know how. You've successfully been doing it for years. What's your secret?
It's so easy to sell the industry. There's so much opportunity in it. But to try to take a question like that and answer it in this video, what I can't wait to do is to really dive deep into the basic fundamentals of recruiting at the InsuranceNewsNet Super Conference you're putting together in Chicago. I'm gonna get into such specific details about recruiting that everybody's gonna walk out of that meeting saying, you know what? Never in a million years did I wanna recruit. Never in a million years did I think I'm gonna recruit these types of numbers. Everyone's gonna walk away saying, I'm gonna recruit and build an agency like I've never recruited before. We'll talk about that at your conference.
And I can't wait, and that's exactly why I wanted you to come and speak to our audience. I don't know that there's anyone more passionate about it in the business, and I don't know that there's too many people that have even come close to duplicating what you've done over the past few years.
I appreciate that. And a conference like yours is a great conference for people to come together and let's set aside our egos. Let's set aside our badges on what unit you represent. I'm serving for the insurance industry. You're serving for the people in America that need insurance. Let's come together. Let's make everybody in America and the world realize this is the greatest time to be an agent. This is one of the greatest industries to be part of. It's one of the most honorable professions to be part of if we come together.
Let's come together.
Let's.
Patrick, this was one awesome interview.
Marty, thank you so much for having me.
You are an inspiration to me and the industry, and I thank you for what you do.
Thanks for coming out. Thank you.
If you're one of the innovators in the insurance industry, we want to share your story. Go to InsuranceNewsNet.com/innovators to apply, and you could be featured in an upcoming episode. We look forward to hearing your story.